dear viewers, and welcome to the Radio Television's English News Edition. Here are the top stories. The Ministry of Health oversees the implementation of DHIS2 system. In Italy, Salvini's League will table a motion of censure to bring down the government. Good and welcome to our newsroom. The Ministry of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsamadiri, supervised the implementation of a web-based data management platform commonly called DHIS2. Indeed, the Ministry of Health plans to set up a web-based digital data and platform to strengthen the health information system in order to improve the accessibility, timelines, and quality of the country's health data. It should be recalled that this project of digitalization of data resulting from the instructions of the President of the Republic, Ismail Margele, to the Ministry of Health in order to facilitate the collection of data in real time on all the extent of the territory, and this will allow him to better protect the population from possible health risks. It is with this in mind that the government has set up the state's National Information Systems Agency, which is responsible for interconnecting all the country's administrations and hosting them in a data center. Developed by the University of Oslo, this DHIS2, a district health information software platform, is adopted in more than 100 countries around the world, including about 40 countries in Africa. The Ministry of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsamadiri, recalled that this process of modernizing the health information system will provide an analysis and decision-making tool based on key indicators that are reliable. This innovation will provide one-click access to real-time health information, he said, and this new DHIS2 platform will be generalized and operational at all levels of the health pyramid in order to facilitate the rational and efficiency management of the country's health data. Malaria. A few months ago, several cases of this disease alerted the government. Subsequently, the Ministry of Health implemented an efficient malaria control plan for the period 2019-2020. Considerable efforts have been made to strengthen the response to the epidemic in order to make Djibouti malaria-free. 11 cases of malaria were uncovered in March this year, and with the high number of people infected in this season, the Ministry of Health has set up its various projects to cope with the spread of the epidemic. Hospitals and hospital centers in the capital are filled with citizens who are heading to them to detect a malaria epidemic, even though the number of health staff has increased dramatically in these health sites. We have noticed a sharp rise in the number of people with malaria of all kinds in all hospitals of all national territories, the doctor said. To cope with the spread of this phenomenon, the number of health workers, whether doctors or nurses, has been worsened. Mosquitoes are a major factor in the emergence of malaria, and this is caused by environmental degradation caused by stagnant water and solid waste scattered on the ground, such as car wheels and other cars thrown into the streets. On the eve of his appointment at the head of the Ministry of Health, the new Minister of Health, Mohammed Warsamadiri, held meetings and took strict measures to combat malaria. Within this framework, the Ministry of Health has rapidly built a strategic stockpile of rapid diagnosis tests and to store medicines and other appropriate and necessary equipment to reduce the spread of malaria. At the outset of his practical steps, the Ministry of Health organized a series of consultative meetings with all concerned parties to assess the magnitude of this situation. The multi-sectoral committees in charge of malaria control, including the Ministry of Interior, the Department of Hygiene, the Mayor of Djibouti, local consultants, the Ministry of National Solidarity, the Ministry of Environment, in charge of water, the health services of the armed forces and security, the National Social Security Fund, and representative of private sectors. The minister has intervened where he said that this issue of fighting the malaria epidemic and tackling the spread of this disease is one of the priorities of the health activities. So he paid close attention to this subject upon his arrival as head of the Ministry of Health, since public health is a priority for the government. It was also agreed jointly with all concerned parties during the meetings on the issue of establishing a clear path of treatment and the provision of necessary and appropriate medical services and comprehensive health coverage and distribution of mosquito nets, as well as awareness of citizens. At the present, the rate of malaria has fallen, and in May this year, the number of infected exceeded 3,000. It is this regard success has been achieved in minimizing casualties in implementation of the vision and plan of the Ministry of Health, which is exposed to citizens in the winter seasons. A large delegation led by Mr. Musa Mohammed Ahmed, Minister of Equipment and Transport, traveled along National Road 1 to the Galhafi border to witness the start of the road reconstruction work. The delegation was composed of the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia in our country, the Deputy Prefect of Dakhil, Mr. Yusuf Ali, Deputy of Yawoki, Mr. Ahmed Muhammad Ali, as well as the heads of the Djibouti Roads Agency, which is the delegated project manager of the corridor projects. Delegation was first able to observe the progress of the work on the base of the cooperation joint venture, which is based in the town of Lakiru in the Yawoki region. Secondly, the delegation noted the progress made in the scarifying of the existing pavement, which is a starting point for a vast program to raise the level of service of the Djibouti-Ethiopia corridor launched by the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport under the leadership of the President of the Republic of Djibouti. It should be recalled that the section financed by the Republic of Japan begins with the locality of the Giru and ends at the white line beyond the border post of Galhafi. The joint venture is responsible for carrying out the work, and the Yoshi-Yo Engineering Company office will supervise the work under the supervision of the Djibouti Roads Agency. As part of the implementation of the biometric system in Djibouti, the technical committee in charge of monitoring the proper implementation of this project, led by Director General of Population, Mr. Ahmed Omar Jama, visited Ali Sabih yesterday morning. This visit is the first stage of a 5-day extensive regional tour that will examine the strengths, weaknesses, risks, and opportunities of the civil registration system in Djibouti. In this tour, Mr. Ahmed Omar Jama was accompanied by a strong delegation, including the Mayor of Djibouti City, the UNFPA representative in Djibouti, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Decentralization, the Deputy Director General of the CNSS, as well as senior managers from several resource departments involved in the establishment of the National Register of Natural Persons, such as the Ministry of Justice. That is, the current state, the civil registration system has major shortcomings that today impact the lives of many individuals who are still outside the birth registration system, particularly children born in remote rural areas or those where functional civil registration centers do not yet exist. This is the very objective of this tour of the regions, at the end of which all the recommendations will be collected and applied in order to guarantee a reliable civil status system and thus ensure the success of the project to set up the biometric system. The Radio Television of Djibouti has launched last night the preparation for Eid, a colorful evening where the musicians performed musical rehearsals and with the technicians in the background to inspect a final checkup of the consoles and sound equipment in a festive atmosphere, a necessary prerequisite for the public. Following the consultation meeting held between the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports senior managers and the community centers development directors, awareness sessions on the launch of a tree planting program throughout the country are in full swing in the CDCs of wards 3 and 5, Wahdaba and Sheikh Musa on August 7. After a finalization of the choices of options and axes of strategies during this meeting, of reflections which took place at the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports between the various actors concerned, the time has now come to take action on the ground to carry out this noble mission whose scope is in favor of the fight against global warming in an obvious, scientific, consistent. This awareness raising action is a part of a vast and ambitious government program to plant 4 million trees throughout the Republic. Thus, community development centers are designed to play a key role in this awareness-raising campaign, which requires the massive involvement of the nation's living forces to contribute to efforts to achieve the objectives set up by the government. The main objective is to make young and old understand the vitality of this tree on the triple ecological, biological, and cultural dimension through documentary screening sessions. On our obituary page, it is with deep sadness that we have learned of the death of Saida Ali Ilmi, who passed away. The deceased was the aunt of our colleague Fatuma Salah Ali and Raya Umar Ali. She died at home last night after a long illness, leaving 3 boys and 4 girls behind. On behalf of myself and all the staff of Radio Television of Djibouti, I would like to express my deepest condolences and sympathy to our colleagues. We share your sorrow. We ask the Almighty to inspire you with patience, comfort, and consolation. May the Almighty welcome her in His eternal paradise. International news. Italy. The league Matteo Salvini's party said on Friday that it will table a motion of censure in the Senate with the aim of bringing down the government and then quickly holding new elections. Those who waste their time are damaging the country, the league said in a statement. The far-right party announced on Thursday that its ruling coalition with the anti-establishment Five-Star Movement party had collapsed. The Italian parliament has closed its doors for its summer break. It is now up to the Speaker of the Senate to decide whether or not to call back the elected officials. President Sergio Mattarella, who acts as an arbitrator in Italian politics, is the only authority that can ultimately dissolve parliament and call elections. That's all for this evening news. Thank you for following us on the Radio Television of Djibouti, and have a good night.